Yo, what up? It's the originator JAZ-O. I'm in New York, y'all. Shout to my peoples. AllHipHop.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man Chuck Creekmur.
Yes.
AllHipHop's in the building with my man DJ Thorough,
Yes.
the legendary one. And we got a special treat today at One World Studios, none other than JAZ-O, Big Jazz, the originator. Yeah.
Did I do that right? The originator.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
More like
okay, all right.
Kings
I know your
County.
style, man.
emphasis on it. Yeah.
See, he put his syllables in order. See, that's a syllable.
He said that's a syllable.
You gotta know that.
Hey, I know.
Crazy.
Jazz, what up?
I'm chilling. What's good?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see
Vice
you.
versa.
Thanks for coming through, man.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. You know, I don't frequent New York like I used to, but you know, I'm always as Brooklyn as ever. You know, it's a good feeling, even though like if you know a lot of places you go, if you don't actually know, if you don't remember the streets, I mean, you look at the landscape with the new buildings, you be like, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So much new shit, but I love New York, and even though New York to me has changed, I mean, in the climate, you know, the mental climate, and even with this hip hop's 50th anniversary, as much good as I see, I also see a lot of politics, you know, because everywhere there's money, there's politics. Politics is the acquisition of money, and
Dropping bars.
that's where the bullshit comes in. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that goes on that we need to really fix, if you will. You know, but you can't fix people. You go and fix the situation.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, let's start with the city, Brooklyn. Let's talk about Brooklyn and what you think about it now. I mean, have you actually gone there, you know, and just, you know, looked at the landscape and seen? I mean, I lived in Brooklyn and it was changing crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll tell you the defining moment when I knew it was different. I saw a white dude. He looked gay, you know. You know, what does a gay person look like? But he had on pink shorts, short shorts, like short shorts, and he had headphones on. He had like, you know, buds or whatever, and he was jogging. And I was like, wow, it's changed.
Right.
No knock against him. Shout out to him because he made me know that it was a different city. And I was in Flatbush when this happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Gentrification.
Yeah. So yeah, it's weird for me. I mean, I don't care where you would be. I mean, seeing, you know, any race of man or any from any ethnicity with some pink shorts jogging, it's just weird to me. And I mean, you know, I'm an American. It's like, you know, you have a right to express yourself and to dress, you know, any way you choose, even though the laws are ass backwards, because you can have on something a lot less revealing and get cited for it. You know what I'm saying? From the cops, which is, it's just ass backwards. But yeah, the landscape has definitely changed. I mean, I think with Giuliani, when they started when he started taxing, you know, the commuter tax for people who worked outside of New York City to pay an additional tax, there was an influx of those people actually moving to the city because they found that it would be a lot less expensive to actually just live in the city. And I think that's what started the whole, and I think that this was systematically done, you know, because on the outside you're looking at it like, okay, he feels like he's our hero because, you know, he's making sure that these outsiders aren't taking our revenue. But in all actuality, he was ensuring that these outsiders take our revenue. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
On another note, we were talking offline or whatever, and you were talking about the Brooklyn you grew up in and how rough that was, you know. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, sure, it was rough. Nah. Right.
Nah, you literally talked about a sawed-off shotgun in the club. Like,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, you know, it was. I mean, the polarity was crazy. Like, the polar opposites, which are really opposites, but there was so. It was an environment that I grew up in where, like, Fridays and Saturdays, I lived on the 6th floor, and everybody, even down to like the 5th floor, like just about everybody's door would be open. I remember the Harrises who lived next door to us, you know, on Fridays, you know, they would be frying up shrimp. There's a whole bunch of shrimp, frying up shrimp. And, you know, we just be running, you know, as kids, you know, we running in everybody's house, running, playing in the hallway, playing tag, playing all kind of shit. But everybody's door was open. There was a loving environment. Nobody was worried about anything.
Right.
You know, but then on the other side of that, you know, you had the gangs starting to prevail in the projects. You know, there was the Sandpipers, Tomahawks, and you know, you go up the street, you know, you had the Tor Pfizer, you had like the Bartlett Boys,
Right.
you know, so you had, you know, the gang movement, and a little later on, you know, a lot of my contemporaries, you know, started getting their hands on some weaponry.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that the Tomahawks from Sonny Carson? Remember the movie, the education of Sonny Carson? There was,
I don't know.
And it was in Fort Greene, by the way.
Yeah.
So it had to be the same
Tomahawks, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a movie called Miseducation of Sonny Carson, and the Tomahawks, the gang keeps speaking of it, literally in that movie.
Mm-hmm. So they had different turfs, and we knew of various gangs, like it was a movement. And then and incidentally, that's around the time where there was like this, I don't know how it started, but it was this untold beef between Marcy and Fort Greene. You know what I'm saying? For a long time it was like that. So, and that's some turf shit, really. So then it went to like a lot of my contemporaries, like I said, started getting their hands on guns. And I mean, we had niggas that live in the building right across from the next person, like having beef.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And literally shooting at each other on site.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, shit like that. But like I said, it was still an environment where it was, you know, everything was cool, but shit like that was the norm.
Yeah.
You know, it was the norm. And it's not like I mean, we could say a lot of violence is meaningless, but a lot of it had, you know, it had a meaning to it. There was a reason. You know what I'm saying? Some type of reason, like and I'm not criticizing like all this beef today. I'm just criticizing the fact that it's beef and that it ends up with somebody getting hurt. But like nowadays it's people feelings. Like they so into their feelings, and everybody's so narcissistic. Like there's too many people walking around thinking they know every fucking thing, and that shit is not gonna work.
Yeah,
that's not gonna work, and it translates into today's social climate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So being in Marcy, witnessing these gangs and this environment, how did you as a kid not fall prey to that? Was it just not interesting to you, or somebody kept you out of that? Because a lot of kids get caught up into that lifestyle.
Yeah, well, fortunately, my parents, you know, and you know the saying, it takes a village. So fortunately, there were a lot of parents who they didn't do like how, you know, like there were times like generations before mine where, you know, somebody else's mother could grab you by the ear and give you a whipping and shit. You know, it wasn't those days.
Okay.
You know, because then it'd be problems maybe. But it was a time where, you know, somebody else's parents would be like, don't do that. I'm gonna tell your mother and father and this, that, and the others. You know, and so you knew, like, And you know, I ain't want none of that business with my father.
Yeah.
You know, so it was basically a thing like, you know, we knew what to look out for.
Yeah.
So the ones who, because there was some, and there were different circumstances. Like, I was fortunate enough for my mother and father to be in the household until I turned around 9.
Okay.
A lot of others, they weren't as fortunate. I was between 9 and 11, which is 10, right? I should have just said 10, but
it's all good.
I overanalyze sometimes. But the basic thing was that we had, you know, like, yo, don't be hanging out in the hallways, or you see, I don't want to mention names, but you see such and such, we used to call him such and such the dope addict. You know, you see such and such the dope addict in the hallway, you know, don't even this, that, and the other. And even they had respect. Because they was like, nah, we fuck around, try to, you know, put these kids on to some bullshit. You know, they parents gonna come down on us because, you know, they were teenagers.
Yeah.
You know, we were kids. Like, we weren't even teenagers yet. So it was like, stay out of the way of that type of shit. You know, I saw my contemporaries, you know, trying cigarettes and you know, then trying weed and drinking and getting into other shit. And you know, I got into shit. You know, me and some of my boys, we started drinking. You know, I started drinking at an early age. I wasn't an alcoholic, but you know, when I felt the time was right, you know, I would drink and I would smoke weed. I quit weed when I was 18. You know, I stopped drinking around the same age. Then but you know, but a lot of people, they have different circumstances. You know, I had different aspirations. It could have been because of my genetics. It could have been because of my, you know, home foundation or household foundation. So, you know, I consider myself pretty fortunate because a lot of my contemporaries, like, you know, I said it before in a commentary, it's a miracle, you know, that I ain't in jail or had done, you know, some time or dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What kind of parents did you have? What did they do?
Well, my father, he had a CDL for a long time, so he could always get a job. You know what I'm saying? He could always get a job. So it was that, and my mother, she had a bachelor's in I believe it's education, and then business administration, and she went back to school during the time that she was working. She worked at places like Cumberland Hospital in Brooklyn. She started working for the 90th precinct in Brooklyn, and she worked there for years. She got a promotion and started working police administration at One Police Plaza. Everybody can be like, yo, yo, Jazz is the ops.
There's plenty rappers with cops as
law enforcement.
Law enforcement.
Salute to law enforcement, man.
Yeah.
Right. So they always, you know, it was always a thing. And I remember one rainy Saturday when we had company, like it was the Morgans from the 5th floor, the Pearsons. I think it was some other kids that were, you know, so it was like about 7 or 8 of us. That's where it started. And we pull out our toys. You know what I'm saying? That's how young we had toys. Like, so we pull out our toys and shit. And I remember Lenny Morgan, you know, may he rest in power. He was like, yo, y'all rich. He was like, hey man, and look, telling everybody, look, they got all these toys. It's like, yo, y'all rich, y'all live good.
What was
y'all
the toys?
Just regular ass toys.
A green machine or something?
I thought,
$6 million man,
G.I.
Joe.
Yeah, G.I. Joe. You know, we had the
Kung Fu
my
grip.
brother had the Johnny Lightning.
Plastic Man or
I
something.
don't know if y'all remember that shit.
Johnny Lightning.
See, I don't
Johnny
remember
Lightning.
I remember
It was before Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels and Johnny Lightning, and they were like competing.
I gotta
So
get that.
Shit.
I collect, I collect, so I gotta get that.
Yeah, so Johnny Lightning. We had Hot Wheels cars. Big Jim Sports Camper.
What about the electric footballs? When you put them in.
Yeah, my brother had that. That shit was 100% fucking meaningless.
right.
Random as fuck. You don't know what's gonna happen.
It's a fact.
Yo, we used to use that playing field for everything except playing that game.
Except playing that game, right?
Yup.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So when, so as you're, navigating through life and everything, hip hop starts to emerge, right? When did you discover it and decide this is kind of what I want to do? Did it happen around the same time, or was that later?
It was a little later, but the discovery of it, I mean, my first exposure to it, it was DJ Frankie D from Marcy. And he was the most popular DJ at that time, and he would bring his music out. So between him, and that was on our side. On the other side, it was Nate G, who was the older brother to who became my DJ, Cool KG.
Timeline. What year are we talking? Timeline.
We talking about Frankie D and we talking about 70. Shit, like 77.
77. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, actually, before that, it was like, like 76, 77.
Okay.
And so that was my first exposure, but it was a thing where like people would talk about it, but I never went to any of the
jams
to the party, where he jacked the juice. But he was known to like take like a long ass extension cord from his window and just do his music, so he wouldn't have to carry shit across here and all that. Right. And back then, it wasn't about like DJ tricks and shit like that. It was about your sound system,
right?
Your Crown amps, your what is it, ASTs, your Serwin Vegas and shit.
Right. So
it was about that, like. That was the best The best DJ was the DJ that had the
best sound
system.
Right. Okay.
So that was my first. So my first exposure was eventually going and seeing Frankie D and my man Tony G. Tony G started talking on the mic. He didn't really rhyme or nothing, but that's what it was. It wasn't really nobody on the mic like rhyming and shit.
Right. So the Brooklyn Coke Rock.
Right.
Not trying to be funny.
Tony G.
Right.
Look him up.
So what happened was again, my brother, rest in power, Lenny Morgan, when the music was out, he was a little eccentric, and another word for crazy ass nigga. He was a little crazy, and I mean in a good way. He would run through the lane on our side, because we had a lane on our side and a lane on the other side that you hear about in a lot of Jay-Z songs maybe, or some where he talk about the lane, and he'd be like, "Yo, they got the music out. Frankie D got the music out," and I mean literally running, like Paul Revere, like the British are coming, British are coming, and he was just that excited about somebody having the music out. So one day, my god brother, may he rest in power, Eric Oliver, we were in my room, and he was like, "Yeah, they got the music out. You going over there?" I'm like, "I'm not going over there." And he was like, "Yeah, I bet you can," because he was too young to go over there, and I was old enough that like if I was sneaky enough, I can get over there. But he was like, "I bet you can't say a rhyme." you can't like motherfuckers say pause. You can't rock the mic. So I'll just ignore them for a little while. Then eventually, I said, oh, let me write a rhyme and shit. So I wrote an 8-bar rhyme. And no, I'm not doing it right now.
You won't say it?
Nah.
You remember it?
Yeah, I remember.
What was it? How's it go? Come on, man. Like the hit go.
Come on.
Y'all acting like him, man.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
I've done it. I've done it before.
He pushed you to be great. That's what we doing here. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, maybe later, like when people totally forget about the context under which I'm doing it.
Oh, right.
So I wrote the rhyme. Then he was like, "Can you say it?" I was like, so I said it. Ended up saying it like around 10, 11 times, and he was fascinated. So basically, that kind of ignited and encouraged me to write another rhyme. So I started writing rhymes, and then I started hearing about some of my contemporaries who were trying to do the same thing. So one of who was my first DJ, my man DJ Stevie Steve, my brother, may he rest in power. He was telling me about one of our people that lived around his way, Duncan Myers, who was I think his was Magic D or something like that. I think we had changed his name to Magic D or something like that. I talked to him on Facebook. I'm gonna ask him. but yeah, so we started going to his crib because he's the only one that had a legitimate set.
Right.
So we made a couple of tapes up there, and then that's kind of where it started. I just started writing more rhymes. We started putting other people together, and we became like a crew. And back then, like the crew really was composed of the MCs. So the MCs were like we became like the high potent MCs. And that was the original. Yeah, we were the original high potent MCs, and we really didn't have a name until me and Steve, who we call crew, we got accepted to high school of music and arts. Fiorella H. LaGuardia,
right,
when it was on 135th and Convent.
Okay.
So we started. That was when we really got exposed to what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Because we started hearing Cold Crush tapes, Flash tapes, and Fantastic Five, all the Zulu Nation crews and everything, and we actually, we brought that down to Brooklyn,
right?
Right. And I don't think that we got enough credit for that. And of course, and that's why I'm going on record with this type of shit. A lot of people don't know, like me and my brother Crew, DJ Stevie Steve, we brought that shit to Brooklyn because niggas wasn't DJing like how Steve was DJing. He adapted and learned stuff that he saw and he heard and incorporated it with what he was already doing, and I did the same thing. So, quite honestly, when a lot of niggas was doing those Mikey and Ikey was playing it in a ditch, that type of shit, we was like, yes, y'all, or to the beat, y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And niggas was like, oh shit. And they got exposed a little bit like Queens because its proximity to different parts of the Bronx.
Right.
But as far as Brooklyn, we brought that shit to Brooklyn.
Wow. That's crazy. Do you feel like you impacted other MCs that we came to know? I mean, with that.
D-O-R-I-G-I-N-A.
Is that where it came from? The original?
Yeah, that's
where it came from.
Yeah, as far as the triplet style and double time rhyming, whatever they want to call it, it's like, I brought that in the game. So anytime you hear anybody doing that shit, you know, it's because of me.
Yeah.
So and I'm going on record with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know, and for a while, you know, I kind of tussled with that, you know, like, oh, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to poke my chest out and, you know, beat my chest and all that shit. I don't want to do that, but you gotta.
You should.
Especially in this climate, you gotta, because you got so many motherfuckers lying. Niggas be lying.
Yeah.
Just to get in front of the camera, just to get numbers. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And they fraud, but people believe so much in media, and it's almost like it's almost like it's almost oxymoronic for me to even say this shit, because this is media, but there's so many people because people's belief in media, people say damn near anything, and they like, yo, such and such said this and that, you know, like the news.
Right.
You know, social media is like the news now.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, shit, you can't trust like 90% of what they say in the news, you know, because they do the video and shit and just tell you shit and then you believe it. But, you know, as far as social media, like, niggas say all types of astronomical shit. Niggas be fronting with cars that don't belong to them, you know, jewelry that don't belong to them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not knocking it, you know, fake it till you make it. Or if you rented it, you know, or you got a right to, if you rented something or you paid for it or you borrowed it, that's your business. But I'm saying, like, when it comes to like factual shit, these motherfuckers don't have any problem with getting in front of a camera and telling some shit. Like, you know, like you got niggas like Kane, you know, and I love Kane, but like, don't sit there and tell people that you started Jay-Z's career. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? That shit is nonsense. And I'm not even saying it like I'm trying to get at them or anything. Like, I don't get at niggas like this.
Yeah.
I get at niggas the real way you get at niggas. So I'm just talking and I'm straightening out a fact.
Yeah.
I'm straightening out.
Are you referring to the Drink Champs interview recently?
I don't know, because I ain't listened to it. But he did, I think, to that effect, you know, and it's not the only time he said it, but, you know, he talks like if it wasn't for him, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about how this shit came to be. So, and for the record, you know, I'm not focusing on Kane, you know, to like for any purpose other than to straighten out, you know, to set the record straight.
Yeah.
So, so you know, I was kind of taking a hiatus from the rap game, and I was leaving EMI, which was on 7th Avenue and like between 52nd and 53rd, something like that at the time. And I went to I was walking and I crossed over to Broadway, because you know Broadway and 7th Avenue is in close proximity around there. So I ran into Kane. Kane was with somebody, and I was like, yo, what's up? I said, what's up, man? He was like, yo, what's going on? I was like, I'm chilling. He was like, yeah, so what's going on with you? I was like, you know, he was asking like music, like what you got going on? I was like, nah, I'm just chilling. He was like, so what's up with your man? I was like, who?
You talking about Jay?
Yeah, he's talking about Jay. So he's like, what's up with Jay? And I was like, he chilling. He was like, yo, you don't you managing him, right? You don't manage him? It's like, nah, that's my man. You know what I'm saying? And then he says, and I know people like, yo, how you remember all that shit? I fucking remember. So he says, it's like, yeah, so you ain't gonna have him signed or nothing like that? You're not gonna sign him? You know, which are fair questions.
Yeah.
You know, those are fair questions. And so I was like, nah, that's my man, you know. And I kept saying that, like, I thought this shit would register to you, like, there's no paperwork or none of that. I don't have any intentions. I brought him along because that's my man.
Right.
So, so he was like, yo, would you mind if I reach out? Could you give me his number. I was like, I don't give out numbers like that. I was like, you give me your number, I'll give him your number, and he'll call you if he want to call you. So that's what happened. And from there, he eventually, and then when he called him, he waited till I was in his presence. We were at Jay's house. And Jay was like, I'm going to call him. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to call him. And then he eventually found out I was there, and then he got on the phone with me and asked me these weird questions about Islam. And he was like, why? But why are you doing it? I was like, because I want to.
Doing what?
Islam. Like, why are you a Muslim?
Right.
And why are you this, that, and the other at the time? So, which I didn't understand the question, and the shit was retarded to me anyway. So, long story short, you know, him and Jay, they started talking, and eventually Jay started going out on the road with him.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, it was short-lived and stuff like that. So, that was the extent of it. So, you trying to tell me, after all of that, you're going to say that it wasn't like he was giving them a whole bunch of light or money. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't establish anything. You helped them out. And that's good.
Right.
But set the record straight. Don't say that you established this nigga's career and the reason why he holding billions is because of you. You know what I'm saying?
He said that. I mean, I ain't hear that.
No, I'm not saying, but I'm saying to that extent, he's saying that he started. Yeah, it's suggestive.
How do you feel about him? It's almost like how is he not mentioning you in that same light as he's speaking on Jay-Z when you're the reason how he met Jay-Z?
Oh, it's obvious. I'm not gonna assume. Maybe he forgot. You know.
Right.
But I'm not gonna assume.
Right.
But he didn't. That's the point.
That's the point.
He didn't.
Right.
So, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying it because I have any type of animosity against Kane. I saw Kane a few years ago in Marietta, Georgia. They were doing like a classic hip hop show in Marietta at this amphitheater. And, you know, I ran into a couple of people I haven't seen in a long time. And I actually saw him after somebody told me about, you know, some things that he said, and I don't even want to watch the interview, you know, and at the same time I don't even want to listen to what they're telling me he said. Right. You know what I'm saying? I just saw him. Yeah. So I'm gonna make my judgment on how he responds to me.
Right. Do you feel lyrically that you inspired Kane?
Oh, hell yeah.
Right. And I'll stop right there. Let me tell you why I asked you that. As I interviewed who was it? Crazy Bone, right? Crazy Bone from
Bone Thugs
and Harmony. You know, so you know they obviously do the triplet style rhyming. A lot of people for some reason credit Migos and no, that ass. People credit Migos and Bone Thugs and Harmony for what you invented. Right, and I said that to say I asked Crazy Bone. I said, how did y'all come up? Just before I told him who invented that, and I literally told him you're the one that came up with that.
They know why I am.
Right, but my point is I just was wanted to see where his head is in terms of who he thinks where you got that from. So I said, how did y'all start? How did you start rhyming like that? Where'd you get that from? He said, you know who it was? He said it was Big Daddy Kane. He said from set it off, let it off. He said he took that snippet of him saying that and said, hey, what if I do a whole song like that, right? And I said, but you know who invented?
I gotta bring myself back to life because I'm dead.
Right. No, this is what he said. This is it's in the interview. You can look it up. He said this. He said, I took the snippet from when he goes, set it off, let it off. I gotta go. Obviously I don't know.
It wasn't even triplets.
But he said he took that and said, what if I made a whole song rhyming fast like that? But it was inspired by, he said, but he got that from Kane. And I'm saying to myself, look, where did Kane get that from?
Right. Favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Right. So everything, right.
So yeah, so that part, like, yeah, like I it always and I'm gonna say this, man. Kane, forgive me, man. for us talking about you this long, because I really don't pay that much attention to too many people like that, but this is something that has to be discussed. So in saying that, like, he had his own lane. It confuses me, like, how somebody has such a big following with your own lane, and now you want to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the first time you heard it, I think it was Patti LaBelle's "Feels Like Another One." Check it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
right.
So in saying all of that, like when I saw him in Marietta, I just asked him. I was like, "Yo, what's up?" And he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And, and he said some 70s shit, like, it's always good when two players get together. It's like, all right.
Did he? I know he didn't say it's always a treat when players meet, did he?
Nah, he didn't say that.
All right.
But
that's what Ice-T always says.
Lay some skin on me, cat daddy. He didn't say that. Right?
Nah, but it was close to it. So I guess I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
But it was almost exactly that. And I was like, I'm good with that, man. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, and I'm not saying like he a chump or nothing like that. I'm just saying I'm not gonna press him.
Right.
Whether he's a chump or not. Like, if it was my intent to even press anybody, then I'm a press him. But it wasn't my intent to press him and ask him anything. To be honest, I was glad to see him. I'm glad to see my contemporaries in decent health and doing shows and doing good. It warms my heart. But like just quit with the lying.
Right.
Stop lying. Even if that's your point of view, like you gotta become more accurate with your shit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. So in terms of the accuracy of it all, well, it's not really, I love Kane. I ain't gonna lie. Like, that's my dude. But I ain't gonna, like, when you go back and you listen and you do the knowledge on where the Jay-Z emergence started, it's always been you. It's never been anyone else, I think. And by the way, what time is this roughly? Like, this is the 90s by this time, right?
Yeah, this was right. This had to be maybe between 91 and 90, like about 91.
Yeah. You and Jay had numerous songs before that. We had heard him and seen him even visually on MTV and heard several songs by that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he featured, even if it was like a phrase or something like that, he featured on numerous songs on my albums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's I felt like, or I feel like that needed to be kind of aired out. Like it's too much, it's too many people, and I feel like it's my responsibility because just keeping quiet, due to acquiescence, like so many people just jumping out the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? He won't, he's not gonna own this thing. He's not gonna make claim to this thing. I'll take it, and it's only right. That's the law of the land.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, like, here I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm talking.
Right.
That's fair. I mean, erasure is real, and I'm not necessarily saying that about Kane. But when we start talking about 50 years of hip hop, there's so many names that we need to acknowledge and mention.
Yeah.
And furthermore, especially when you're talking about someone like Jay-Z, who's oftentimes regarded as the best ever, or, billionaire this, or accomplished all these things, I do think that it's particularly important to understand where he came from.
Right.
And doing that, or rather I should say erasing that, or even changing the narrative is not what we should be doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Can you pinpoint when you actually came up with they call
the triplet style?
The triplet style. What year was it, and was anybody influencing you to do that? Like, how did you come up with that?
Nah, this is So I was rhyming on a. We were making a mixtape.
Okay. What year is this?
Oh boy.
If you can remember.
You and your specifics.
Like 70.
Well, that clears it up right
A
there.
mixtape with Jay-Z in the 70s?
No.
No, triplet style.
the triplet style.
See,
My fault.
that's why I asked that. So that cleared it right there.
All right, I'm sorry.
Nobody was doing that.
I was thrown off for a second.
Yeah. So it was it's like 79, 80.
79, 80.
Okay.
So
That kind of clears it right
Damn,
there.
that's
so
crazy.
but what happened was it wasn't so much a fluke, but it was I had too many syllables in a line where I was saying something and I was like, yo, I gotta truncate this shit and make it work. Without,
Condense it, right?
yeah. So 2 or 3 of those syllables, and it wasn't technically triplet, it was just double time. At
Right.
that time it was doubled up in order for me to get that, get it all, get
Right.
all the words in that line. So so we was making a tape, and I was rhyming for about, it was either the somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, because that's how we used to do it. KG get on Wheels of Steel.
Was it a break beat? You just
Yeah, it's all break
What break beat was this over? Do you
I don't
remember?
know, man.
7
Come
minutes
on,
of funk.
Come on.
I'm going there.
Oh, Lord.
Nah, you going past there
Yo, he going back.
and left me behind.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know. I'm detailed, but
Right.
yeah, I could dig.
I'm super detailed here.
This
bro.
guy,
But I could tell you,
he the Wikipedia of hip hop.
no, but I will say this. Me and KG's go-to, as far as when we was doing tapes, it was I Can't Stop, and
Sean Davis and the Monster Orchestra.
yeah, and Catch a Groove.
Catch a Groove Juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
That's
yep. So those are our go-tos. So
Woo.
it more than likely was one of those joints.
okay.
And so what happened was, after we were listening to the tape and he kept going, and we was sitting on the benches at 297 Park, and he kept running it back a couple of times. He was like, yo, what made you do that? I was like, and I kind of told him in my own way, like, just did it. And he was like, yo, you should do that more. And I was like, and this is KG saying this. And I was like, yeah, if it happens, it happens. I don't care. Back then, I was Johnny B. I'm the best. And
Right.
I don't really care about that, because there was no need like to be doing any type of, or having like a marketing state of mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm gonna popularize this, and there was none of that, at least not for me.
Right.
So the next time that really came up, I really did start doing it more. But in '85, me, Jay, and these brothers, 2 brothers, they actually KG's cousin, Armored Joy, and Easy LD. We did a song called HP Gets Busy. And in the song, me and Jay, we'll catch a line here and there, and we'll triple up some,
Right.
some words.
Which is on YouTube, by the way. The record you're talking about is
Yeah, I've
on
heard it.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So
Now,
you can look this up if you want to see that. Hear it.
it was going on sales. Probably the price probably went up for the vinyl. But somebody's probably copying the vinyl now anyway. Nothing is sacred.
Nothing is sacred and nothing is pure. So the revelation of death is up.
I was telling them about the day we shot Let's Go in February, and like it was cold around all of those days, and that day was like 65 degrees, right? That shit was magical, man.
It's meant to be.
So hold up. Okay, I'm sorry. I know you got a plane to catch, so I want to backtrack just a little bit.
Okay.
So you saying And I am not trying to create anything, because I never try to create anything. But you said you influenced Kane, so I'm trying to figure out what the timeline looks like. You know, because that fast rap style, Kane, you, G-Rap.
Even Kool Moe Dee was doing it at one
Kool Moe
point.
Dee did it a little bit.
But when he was in the treacherous street,
a little bit, yeah.
He was doing it.
But But see, let's not mistake fast rapping
For
and triplet.
Okay.
You know, because it's a whole different time signature.
Okay.
As far as the verbiage. But the reason why I say that is because, like I said, Kane had his own lane. He had plenty of, he had much success,
It's dope.
much popularity in his own lane that he created. You know what I'm saying? But then you have, all of a sudden, he's a figure the bigger than whatever he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, and that's cool, because it's not like you can't own words. You know what I'm saying? And, copyright law, you can't own words, but a certain combination of words, but the time signature, I don't think they touched on that yet. But so I'm like, okay, and the distinction is it happened right after he started bringing Jay on, shows with him.
Okay.
And then he does Feels Like Another One with Patti LaBelle.
Right.
That's why I say that.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, he's capitalizing on that. And even to this day, like I saw something on social media, and he's doing the style on what's the name? I guess he's doing a show, and he's doing like a little freestyle off of Nigga What Nigga Who. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so it makes you wonder, like, what's your point?
Was it homage? Could it be paying homage?
Yeah, it could. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like, what's your point? And I'm not saying it with negative undertones.
Right.
I'm just saying, what's your point? Or because it could be like, yo, Timbaland did his thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would want to do that.
Right.
But it just makes you wonder, like, why that?
Right.
And maybe me saying this way, I can get some answers, or somebody could get answers. But if I don't get an answer, I don't really care that much.
You gonna get answers.
Oh, you gotta get an
Trust
answer.
me, you gonna get answers. They coming. I know it. I can feel it. So let's go. Damn, how do we transit? Jay-Z and you are indelibly linked. I hear often in your music y'all refer to each other as partners. That word comes up a lot. Rap partners. What was the nature of the relationship at the beginning?
Well, it was. It started.
And mentor is another word as well.
But it started out as but I never used mentor. Mentor is something that developed due to the fact of what it became, because I did educate him on a lot of stuff. He educated himself on plenty of stuff. I was very, very versed in poetic devices. He learned, and he started learning a lot of that from school. He started carrying this rhyme dictionary. But
the rhyme dictionary, you don't know about that.
But the structure, the structure of poems, which correlates with with song structure, and those are a lot of the things that I taught him, with bars, measures and bars and stuff, and the difference between. So that's where the mentor part came. But I said partner because I never wanted him to feel like, because I'm his senior, that I'm sonning him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that. Right. You know what I'm saying? I felt, because I never wanted anybody to do me that way. If I had like an older person or whatever, somebody I looked up to, even my brother, my older brother Rich, he he would only call me his little brother to people so that they would know that I'm his little brother.
Yeah.
But he didn't, you know, he would teach me stuff, and, you know, we would protect each other and, you know, outside in the street. So I never wanted him to feel that way. I didn't want him to feel, you know, like he has to work his way up to something, you know, that we were striving together. So that's kind of where me saying partner, you know, came from. Because it was more after we met in, you know, in rap, it became more than rap. You know, it's like, you know, this my man's, this my little, not little, but younger brother.
Yeah.
In spirit.
And that continued on really for quite a while. I mean, what about those lean years? I mean, you know, Kane and him, they did a few songs. He was on tour with him, but he also did a few songs with Kane, Bust a Move with ODB. Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty big record for me. I mean, I love that record. And but you guys also began to work after sort of the formation of Rockefeller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So were y'all cool in that time frame?
Yeah. We just, I mean, I wasn't around as much, and, you know, I have to own up to that. You know, so a lot of things that I may have had problems with, if you will, you know, I can honestly say it could be because a lot of that. You know, I had my own reasons, and I didn't have, you know, any type of animosity. It was just things I was doing. You know, there was a time when he didn't want any of this music shit, you know, and I actually asked him to come to London, you know, in '88, when he was on the verge of like, nah, I ain't fucking with that music shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's documented. He said, like, you know, that basically saved his life because there was some shit going on. And, you know, I'm glad that it happened that way. And even if he didn't feel his life was in peril, I wanted him to be there anyway, because I felt like with his talent, he deserved to be exposed to that type of life.
That's dope. And Irv Gotti was there too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm just mad curious as to how that.
So I asked Cool KG, you know, I was like, yo, I got the deal. We going to London. You know, everything paid for. You gonna roll? He was like, nah, you know, call me when you get back. And I was like, okay. So I told my management at the time that you know, I need a DJ. You know, just somebody to, you know, because they were like, you know, you need this entourage, you know, you might as well bring a DJ, because they were like, we could bring, you know, I could have brought like 7 to 8 people with me. Right. But I was like, I'm not dealing with no 7 to 8 people. You know, I'm dealing with the minimum.
Right.
So Jay was a shoe-in, and he wanted to go. And then we met Irv. And when we met Irv, they were like, you know, they wanted to see like, yo, you know, is he cool? You like him? You want him to go? So, you know, me in my head, I was like, I ain't see this nigga DJ or nothing like that. You know, I mean, you know, but he's a cool nigga. Like, we cool.
Right.
But
could he DJ at the time? Was he good?
See, here you go.
Hey, we just
real talk though.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's
real
a real question.
I don't care.
Was he good? He wasn't. Was he good or not?
I never really even saw Irv really get busy.
Okay.
I never even saw it. I saw him DJ a couple of times, and I mean, you know, he knew what he was doing.
Okay.
I would say that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say that because I don't want, you know. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but I never saw him like, you know. I saw you. You know, I saw DJ Scratch. I saw Jazzy Jeff, and it wasn't that.
Right.
You know. Yeah. Even my man DJ Tron that Irv introduced us to, because Irv didn't want to go on tour when went on tour with Jody Watley.
Okay.
And
that's a flex. Jody Watley.
Big flex.
Big flex.
So we, but yeah, I never saw that. Like but Irv is very innovative, and he got his shit off, if you will.
Right.
Basically, selling mixtapes.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
When they was tapes.
Yeah.
Right.
What about the again? And this is just, I don't know why I have to ask this, but I want to ask the Jay-Z, the drug dealer stuff. Did you help him get away from that? Is that what that really was, or was that like later?
Yeah, it was that, and also I feel partially responsible for getting him in. So
in the game.
Yeah.
In the music game.
No, not in the music game.
Oh, in the drug game.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't make the connection. I'm not gonna sit and say, "Oh, I connected them." Certain things. There ain't gonna be none of that. I'm not the podcast gangster guy. If I didn't do it, I didn't do it.
Right.
So basically, that's what I was doing around the time. We were doing shows. Broadway International. MC contests and shit like that. I would bring my work up there and hand it off to somebody, and they do their thing, and then they come back to me by the time we leave. So he saw that. But I think I got him out of it definitely with the trip. And he enterprised a lot more than where I went with it. Like I wasn't that. Like I didn't have plans. Like I was doing it so that I wouldn't have to ask nobody for no money. You know what I'm saying? So I was doing it. I wasn't doing it like, yo, I'm an enterprise and I'm gonna set up a spot over here and then I got workers over here. I wasn't enterprising like that because first of all, I didn't really feel good about doing it.
Right.
I was doing something outside of myself or a small part of myself that I didn't really like that much. So I had to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You guys had a lot of positive messages visually. You did. And were you a follower of Dr. York? Is that true?
Yeah, but I don't like to say follower because I'm not a follower.
Okay.
But I did adhere to his perspective on things because of not so much the doctrine, but the overall impact on the community. And I was like, this is something that I would like to be a part of. People working together for the common good. You know what I'm saying? Like a beehive.
Right.
And that's what I got from that.
Yeah.
And, so we, I was the first artist ever to go on Bushwick Avenue, and present that to the general public, if you will.
Yeah, you promoted that pretty heavily. And Dr. Malachi York, by the way, Jacob York is his son, who's still out there.
Right. So like, since we're on the Jay-Z topic, right? So your history with Jay-Z is extensive,
Yeah. When we gonna stop talking about Jay-Z?
No, we about to stop talking now. But
cool.
I just want to cover this because we never talked about this on camera. At some point, you and Jay had a fallout, right? And I think it's ironic that I'm even asking you that now because tell me if I'm wrong. That fallout was because he didn't show up for a video shoot, right? Was that the initial fallout?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is ironic that the director is here.
I know.
So that's why I'm like,
No. So.
Because I was at that video shoot, and
there's two stories floating on the internet.
Well,
by the way.
He hears from the horses. He's right here. So I remember being at the video shoot, and I remember you waiting for Jay-Z to come to the video shoot. And, like I vividly remember that, but he never showed up. What was the miscommunication there? Like, how did that play out?
I mean, I didn't really hear from him after that, and what I did hear. And it just so happened that it was around that time I had done an interview for Source magazine. And the interviewer was Kim Osario.
Kim, I remember.
And so she was requesting that Jay Jay put a basic like put a quote, like kind of the seal of approval on the whole interview. And of course, and the response was, now before I say this, I'm gonna say this, that I didn't fully understand the circumstances behind why he said that, or his feelings about the Source magazine or anything else. But he just told her, like, just put my name on it in quotation marks. So, so regardless of how he felt about Source magazine or whatever, I just felt that, like, come on, man, like, it's me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. By this time, it's 2000. This is the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my perspective on that. So that's kind of where things just really got corny to me. And shit happens. Like, I don't know his reasoning for saying things. Only he knows. I'm not gonna go in depth with, oh, he thought this, and I don't know. And all I can go on is what I thought for myself and what I saw the basic conclusion. So if I see that, I'm like, man, it's me. And then if I'm not told about any of these things, it's like, what do you expect me to go on? I'm gonna only go on what's being presented. So that's where that happened. No, I don't really want to get too much into it.
Fair enough.
Well, I know now it wasn't because he didn't sign the Rockefeller.
I mean that played a part in a way, but I wasn't signing that shit. Yeah. Your man was trying to give me I couldn't, and when I say I was talking to Damon.
Dame Dash.
So I couldn't say whether it came from, I can only say it came from Dame, like he spoke it, and he was saying, like, I was like, of course, and I said it out of my own mouth. We family, right? I'm with it. So he was like, yeah, so we're gonna get you in the studio. I was like, okay, so I got some questions. He was like, shoot. And I was like, what's my budget? Unclear answer. What is can I audit, because that's when, doing the purchase orders for the studio and everything. I was like, I just want to have rights to audit. Just giving him some pre-order, like, I wanted my on specs, I wanted this way, and this way. And it's like, do the thing, and I'm with it. We can negotiate back and forth, everything. And I was just getting all the answers. I'm not going to say the wrong answers, the answers that I did not want to hear. So I didn't do it.
Gotcha.
And there was no animosity. It was just like, I'm not doing that.
And y'all continued to work together. So, yeah, your songs and production and everything. They offered Kane a deal too. You should know that. You know that. Yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah, they did. They did. But they what people don't realize is y'all were from a different era where you had at that time the largest advance ever in hip hop.
And he was the first hip hop artist on EMI.
Big money.
They have never experienced dealing with hip hop artists. He was the very first.
He got a lot of
on
coins.
that label. So he's still spending money from '88. Living.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, all right. So man, we're gonna have to definitely do a part 2 to this. We got to, because I got a lot more questions, but I ain't gonna go into those questions. But I do want to talk about the kind of button up the Jay-Z conversation, because you dropped the album, which you didn't come here for. I was a little upset. I ain't gonna lie. because I think you did some other media, and I was like, wow, you just gonna walk right past AllHipHop. But
No, I didn't know about that. Oh man,
I mean, you didn't do. Well, you did. You were. I think you were doing press, but you didn't do AllHipHop.
He was probably going where they was telling him to go. In all fairness,
Right.
You know what I
Fair
mean?
enough. I
See,
get
that
it.
saved you.
That's
nah, you didn't save me. That's what happened. Nah, you did save me,
That's what
but
happened.
that is what
Because
happened.
I was there for that. That's why I'm saying that.
the warm up was
Yeah.
dope album.
Thank you.
It was distributed by Rock Equity, Rock Nation, Rock, Equity, whatever. Did that button up? Like, did is there a peaceful like resolution to all this? Are we cool now? We've seen pictures and stuff like that.
Definitely. See, the thing about it is that there are code words in society, and they have bankrolled off of the word beef.
Mm-hmm.
They even got a movie called Beef.
Yeah.
And they ain't even got not one hip hop artist in it, and none of that.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing
That's
to do
a
with
fact.
that, which is good.
That's deep.
The Netflix series. Yeah.
That's deep.
So,
Damn. Think about that.
it's really to say like we never had beef. It wasn't like a beef. There was like people in my ear. How much it influenced my actions. Very little, but it had to a little bit. And the same I would say for him.
Yeah.
And a lot more people in his ear about things because people have agendas around them. And I saw that before Rockefeller was majorly distributed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I saw all of that, and I had to defend, or I wouldn't say defend, I had to show and prove on numerous occasions.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, I said what? Such and such said this, and such said that. All right, bring all these pieces to the table or on the phone and straighten it out. And niggas ain't like me behind that, but it's like, number one, I'm not gonna snitch. Number two, and then snitch, you have to be a guilty party. And people don't recognize that. Only the guilty party is known as the snitch because that guilty party is trying to get out of a situation. So in order to get out of the situation, they snitch on the other cohorts.
Right.
So that's how the shit goes down. So I wasn't really snitching. I was telling something because I'm like, yo, we all supposed to be peoples. Y'all niggas telling me something that you ain't telling him. You telling me something, how you feel about something, you disgruntled about something, and the same way you called me, you could have called this man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to call him because you want to stay in his good graces, and at the same time, involve me in your bullshit.
Right.
So, and I've been defending that, and not that he needs defense, but I was always, and I'm letting it be, I was always on his side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like, yo, even you had a Labrador Retriever and he chopped the Labrador's head off. Go talk to him about it. Fuck you telling me for?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was my view. That was my perspective on it.
Right. Well, one thing I want to do, because I'm genuine with this, I want to give you your flowers now because you are what I call a triple threat. And what I mean by that is you can DJ. People don't know he can DJ. He can spit, and he produce. That's a triple threat.
Did you do the warm-up? Did you produce that?
Nah, I produced some songs on it.
Right.
I purposely wanted to, focus on writing, on lyric writing.
Got you.
So,
and the bars are crazy. I ain't mean to cut you
No,
off.
that's all good.
The whole project.
Right. And he surprised me. Obviously, I'm a DJ. So when he played me Diaries, that's my favorite song from him.
Yeah.
His cuts on there. And I'm like, who's cutting? He's like, that's me. I'm like, oh shit. He can get busy. You know what I mean? He's a triple threat. He's a quadruple threat because he sings too. A lot of people don't realize you're singing on Ain't No Nigga Like Them. That's you. You singing on Jay-Z's first hit record.
Me?
That's you.
Shit.
Right. So you
Yo, where that nigga at? I want him.
He's a quadruple threat. You know what I mean? So I want to give you your flowers, man. You don't get the recognition you deserve.
Yeah.
You know, when people mention people that can DJ, MC, and produce, you hardly ever get mentioned. They'll mention Eric Sherman or Diamond D or Large Professor or someone like that, which was all my guys.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Rightfully so. Pete Rock, those are rightfully so. But it should, got to mention my guy JAZ-O. So I want to give you your flowers, man.
We don't do erasure here at AllHipHop. Yeah,
brother man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you pulling up, man. You gotta come through more often, man.
All right.
You know what I mean? Cause we get a lot out of these interviews. I ain't gonna lie. Like, we feel like we just, I don't know, man. It's one thing to do the clickbait. Respect the things that everybody does to get their money, whatever. But I like to hear the story. I like to hear the details, like thorough. I like to hear the timeline and connect the dots in a way that most people don't do.
Right.
Because we're in a society where people are listening to content in 30 seconds, a minute, if you're lucky.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate what you brought to the game. I think you're owed much more than the game has given, but that's kind of the way things work for some of the people like yourself who don't cap or who don't do dirty business and
dying breed.
Yeah,
that much.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. I got one more. Oh, no. Top 5 dead or alive. Top 5 dead. I know you gotta go. I know you gotta go. But give us real quick top 5 dead or alive. You can just breeze through it if you.
All right.
Yeah.
Me.
Die line. Because he spits.
All right. You know what? We don't do that often, but I'm gonna give you that because based on the last project you did and your first work and the work in the middle, I'll let you do that because you deserve it. Yeah, for sure.
And then I have to say this too in defense of all my contemporaries. Like, there's really no such thing as the best. Like. Because nobody could do what I do. I don't do what, say, a Jadakiss does. Nobody else could do what Biggie does besides Biggie. And the list goes on and infinitum. You know what I'm saying? So I say it in that aspect, but in the aspect of I do what I do, I'm always say I'm the best, hands down. And it's based on to the fan base. How many records you sold, and to me, it's vocal projection, cadence, wordplay. You know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But that's my criteria of what the best is, and when you perfect those things. But for all artists who have perfected what they do, you the motherfucking best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's all be the best and stop all this top 5 bullshit. All that shit is bullshit, man. And no disrespect to nobody, but like fuck all that, man. Top 5. But I'm 6 or 7 or something. Yo, be the number one you. Yeah. And that's all you need to be.
That's a fact.
Then you the best. Yo. You the top 1, 2, 3, 4, and motherfucking 5, man.
Hey, say no more.
Yeah, man.
Yo, we end that on that.
If we ended right there, shout out to
be the best you can be.
Damn, we literally do top 5 dead or alive every interview.
You just shut that whole shit down.
Like, thanks, Chaz.
Yo,
it's all good though.
It's all good. Nah, you.
That makes sense though.
No, it makes sense. That's what I do because I damn sure don't try to be like anybody else.
As you should.
Absolutely not.
As you should.
I don't care what y'all do. Y'all start. They gonna have crack champs soon. Yo, let's do crack.
Who's the best crack
champs? What we gonna say next?
Yo, because I was in Kingston Park one time. I used to play ball a lot in Kingston Park, and it was when Puff was all over the radio, and this nigga came in the park saying that Puff was the greatest rapper alive. Yo,
I'm done.
It, man.
Man, listen,
done with that
we done.
Yeah, that's
it's a lot going on right now. But Doja Cat for president.
Yeah, right. Doja Cat for president. There it is.
All right, man. Let's get
JAZ-O, ladies and gentlemen.